As this is the first stage of the OD process, the organisation's issue needs to be clarified. What is the problem and what are the symptoms of this problem that have led to a need for change? The relevant client is to be determined. In other words, who will be dealing with the change on behalf of the organisation to be able to work with either internal or external consultant. This will be based on expertise and experience. Taking the external OD consultant in this case, they will come into the organisation and will have to show and ensure the organisation knows that they have the skill set necessary to help and solve the change. A fresh pair of eyes and an unbiased view can be more often than not beneficial. Take, for example, an organisation sees a need for change and upgrade with their integrated business systems, yet some people in the organisation are resisting the change. An external consultant at the entering phase will come and analyse what the root of the problem is and how they can start to break it down to come up with an appropriate solution to suit all involved.
A successful external OD consultant must show characteristics of a trustworthy and ethical person at the contracting stage. Trusting relationship. Building a trusting relationship is an essential part of the contracting stage, as the employees should feel that no external OD consultant is there to improve their working environment and positions. They must empathise with their clients and understand what interests, motivates and demotivates a person. This is essential to gaining an insight in how they operate in a workplace. Consultants must ask questions such as, what do I not know about you? What will we accept as evidence that has been successful? Ethical understanding. A really ethical consultant sees an exit point. They consider the future well-being of the employees as well as the business. This is an important aspect of the contracting stage, as the external OD consultant ensures that mutual expectations stated in the contract is fair for each party. An unethical consultant is like a doctor. They want to keep you sick so you can come back to them and keep income running. It is not ethical for an external OD consultant to disregard the outcomes for an employee's contract.
Diagnosis is a collaborative process between organisation members and the OD consultant to correct pertinent information, analyse it and draw conclusions for action planning and intervention. The key to effective diagnosis is to know what to look for at each organisation level and to recognise how the levels affect each other. Diagnosis involves understanding each of the parts in the model and then assessing how the elements of the strategic orientation align with each other and with the inputs. Organisation effectiveness is likely to be high when there is good alignment. Many consultants fall into the trap of doctor-patient model. During this stage, we gather as much data here as possible to try and identify what the problem is.
When giving feedback, who is the best situation here? The external OD or the internal OD? Usually feedback is bad news and criticism. In this situation, it's probably easier to be an external consultant, as you have the better skills to say things exactly how they are. An external consultant would objectively look at the situation. For example, when it comes to performance appraisals, an external consultant is completely unbiased, sees the situation exactly how it is and treats people accordingly. An external consultant could give bad news and leave, but an internal consultant, however, would have to stay with the colleagues afterwards. For example, having to tell a marketing manager that the marketing plans are outdated and irrelevant to current trends would prove difficult to someone who's worked closely with the manager for years, but to someone external, there is no hesitation. In terms of giving good news and positive feedback, there is no real challenge in giving it, but it's important to get that good feedback and praise is given where it's due.
Organisational development doesn't work unless the organisation do something different. Produce different behaviours, different roles and procedures, depending on what the business has set out to achieve by bringing in the external OD consultant. They help through interventions such as workshops, cases, restructuring and new activities. External consultants come from outside the organisation and are therefore more familiar with industry best practices. They have a greater understanding of what's going on in the market. However, more time will be needed to gather information internally and to see where needs changing. They have a wide range of expertise, potentially across different industries, and an external consultant facilitates knowledge transfer and will know what intervention is needed based on past experiences. For example, they may have organised many workshops in the past and know how to coordinate them in such a way for maximum learning, whereas someone internal, it may be their first time.
The external consultant must consider the following after their intervention with the organisation. Firstly, have they fulfilled their contract? It is vital that they do everything the organisation has asked of them in terms of tasks assigned and achieving results. They also must look back at what value do they bring to the organisation. The organisation put their trust into a new leader in the organisation. They took a risk, as hiring an external OD consultant is often considered to be far more expensive approach, not to mention that they will need to be brought up to speed on the culture and day-to-day running of the organisation. A successful external consultant should leave behind a sustainable business environment. Has the change been successfully frozen into the business? The consultant should only feel his work is accomplished once he can leave the organisation behind, knowing that it has skills, culture and expertise to continue onwards with the long-term intentions set out during the intervention.